Hi everyone, I'm really excited to have Lydia, Hannah and Nastia here with me today. These are Hughes Hall graduate doctoral students and we're here to talk about digital education futures. So let's start. Lydia, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your research.
So my name is Lydia. I am a second-year PhD student in education. So my research focuses on using simulation to support teachers to develop the competency of attending to the multiple dimensions of the classroom simultaneously and making instructional decisions on the fly.
Okay, so Hannah, tell us a bit more. Now you are an Ed.D student.
So I've always been interested in acquiring and sharing knowledge to help bring about change. So I describe myself as a researcher, a fashion and learning designer, and an educational facilitator. When carrying out cross-cultural research in Ghana for my master's, I noticed some challenges that children with special educational needs and disability had, especially with their communication and language. And I also noticed the disadvantage and disparities from lack of access to digital technology. So I decided to research further in order to develop and design an intervention using digital technology, as digital technology seems to make a difference in addressing the challenges that autistic preschoolers had. So I applied to um, for the education doctorate degree at Hughes Hall. It's Yenkase, improving the communication and language of Ghanaian preschoolers on the autism spectrum with digital technology. And Yenkase is fancy, it's a vernacular language. It means our language, the way we talk.
Wow, cool. So Nastia, tell us a little bit about yourself and your research.
I am a third year PhD student at Hughes Hall, and my research looks at how primary school children are using social networking sites like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and I'm also examining whether this is correlated to their academic achievement and to their executive function skills. And this is mainly because I was a primary school teacher for 2 years here in the UK.
Ooh, cool, exciting. So I'm going to start with Lydia again. So what do you think about some of the new exciting models of digital education futures might be or are happening at the moment?
So before answering that question, I think a lot of the existing digital education has really focused on replicating the old model of education. So rather than really taking advantage of the unique affordances of technology, we try to create this teacher in the box experience and just really replicate what would have been doing for a number of years. So I think the exciting things that technology can bring us is to really transform the learning experience for learners, rather than replicating the conventional model of learning. And I think the content, like learning content, is no longer an issue. I wouldn't say no longer an issue, has been less of an issue as a lot of things has been digitalized and more accessible for people who have access to technology. However, we need to make learning more experiential and
So Hannah, what would your response to be about these new models? And it may be totally different in your actual experience back in Ghana.
Yes, and just to add to what Lydia said, I believe that education is dynamic in nature, and education works in a way such that we are equipping the children or adults into the future. Okay, so for me, the future models of education that I find exciting, they respond to the changing employment requirements, or they develop the individual strengths of a person as opposed to a group, or it offers flexibility in education. Explain a bit further. So in terms of responding to changing employment requirements, a curriculum that is training people to be employable in the future and be employable globally. Okay, so a flexible kind of curriculum. And then one that develops the individual strength of a person as opposed to a group. We are looking at a model of education that offers subject areas and skills that can tool a person to gain future work and skills to be employable. Maybe teaching skills like negotiation or diplomacy, that kind of thing, or offers flexibility in education. So modules that are designed to be flexible and can be fitted in. So modules that are transferable into different models. For example, if you're in Ghana and you've taken the WASI, the West African Senior School Certificate examination, and you come to the UK and someone has taken the GCSE level or has done a Future Learn course or Coursera, you should be able to transfer certain modules and continue with your education. So those are some of the exciting
yeah, so the sort of modular or containerized matrix version of long life learning. Yeah, it's fascinating. And also we have the opportunity to do, as you were saying, focus on this globally. So Nastya, what about you? What do you think? And obviously everyone's got different experiences and different areas in research. So what are the new future models of digital education that are exciting you?
Thanks, Jen. So I feel that classrooms are going to be increasingly more connected around the world. Like learners are going to learn together with learners very far away. Teachers are going to learn together with other teachers. They're going to reflect all together. And I think that in this way, there are going to be more cultural awareness, more empathy. And I feel that because of that, also social media are going to be even more embedded in the everyday curriculum of secondary. And in this way, it's going to move away from more curriculum-based learning to a wider sense of learning that values more critical thinking, empathy, dialogic thinking, open-mindedness.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Especially when you think about there's also the challenge, which we'll come to in a minute, but the sort of digital deficit that we have in terms of access or finance, or even just the space to learn. Whether you have all the technology and access to Wi-Fi, you might not have an actual learning space or a learning support community. So that whole idea of a sort of distributed but connected and collaborative approach to learning is really quite interesting. I quite like that. The idea of sort of, me teaching other classrooms and my students collaborating with anybody, anywhere. There's that. And we have the technology now. That doesn't mean that language is a barrier. So that's the other thing as well. We don't have it perfect, but we can certainly get some semblance of communication while everyone's working within their first language, which is quite interesting.